Yes.
All right. So it looks like we have about 79 students in this audience with us today. I highly encourage all of you to have your videos on so that we can see who we are talking to. My name
Absolutely.
is Brenda. I am an assistant director for undergraduate research office in the College of Engineering. Here with me, I have a wonderful student from Purdue. She's an ambassador for my office, for the undergraduate research office in the College of Engineering. She is?
Hi, I'm Sarah Davis. I'm a sophomore in mechanical engineering, and I'm going to be speaking a little later. So that's going to be fun.
Right. We want to let you know that we want to have a conversation. There's a lot of information out there, but I want to make sure that this information is useful to you and you know how to interact with this content. Therefore, we encourage you to ask questions, interrupt us anytime. This is your time to ask us questions, right? Yes, there's a lot of information we would like to share with you, but it's going to be boring if you don't get what you want to hear, right? Therefore, I highly encourage you to stop at any point. Please jump in, ask a question. Sarah and I are here to help you answer some of these questions about undergraduate research. And we're going to have some activities. So to get you into the mode of understanding, okay, there's a thing called research at Purdue. Well, first of all, we're a research one institution. So research is our #1 profile, right? But undergraduate researchers play a very, very critical role in advancing the knowledge of this community, of this nation. Therefore, we want you to understand how can you get involved in research and what might be some benefits and how can our office, undergraduate research office at the College of Engineering, can be helpful for you. With that, we want to know a little bit about what are your interests? Sarah, would you mind sharing the poll with the students, please?
I already did. So we have actually a majority of people have said that they are interested in research on Purdue's campus.
Can we see those results, please? I just unshared my screen.
Sure. So, I mean, I am interested in getting involved in undergraduate research, but if we look at the results here, the 85% of people are interested in getting involved with research, which is really awesome.
Fantastic. Okay, second question. Now, I want to know if you want to get involved in research, who would you speak to? So the second question, let's see what the results say.
I just posted it in the chat, so we're going to give a minute for everyone to weigh in. There are no wrong answers here. It's just really, what would you do?
Right.
Okay, if we look at the results as they stand, so far professors and our office are winning by a lot. Let's see if the students want to, you know, team internet wants to represent a bit more. Yeah. But oh nope, professors.
Okay.
It seems like most people would choose to go to professors first if they were interested in getting involved in research.
Fantastic.
It's fair.
All right. So how many of you, show by hand or actually unmute yourself and tell, okay, you're going to a professor to understand about research opportunities. Is there anyone in this audience who have gone up to a professor and say, I want to get involved? What was that conversation like? Anyone?
Feel free to post your answer in the chat if you don't want to speak in front of everyone. Oh, some people can't unmute. That's fun. Let me see.
CG, can I unmute students?
I can as well, so let me see if I can help here. I can ask to unmute, but I cannot. Well, Sarah, feel free to type out your response then. We're
And we will-
accepting all forms of answers here, you know? So just post a reaction if you've ever talked with a professor about their research.
So here, actually, while people are typing in their
Okay, Sarah, what do you see? I would like to hear what students are doing when they speak to their professors about research.
Someone emailed the professor about a research VIP opportunity, and they told them about research they were doing. Another professor was not doing research, but named some professors in a similar field. Another person asked for some opportunities, and one part of the professor's response was that she'd take her resume.
Excellent. So there are some strategies, right? Emailing professors, you're asking good questions. That's fantastic. So today we are going to talk a little bit about Engineering Undergraduate Research Office. How can we help you, right? And really this is a partnership. Sarah and I started to work about how do I get involved in this research process as a first-year student. And she's going to talk a little bit about what her journey has been and what successes that she has gained so far. Before I do that, are you able to see my screen okay? Are you able to see what we offer? Yeah, thank you. So we're a central office in the College of Engineering, here to facilitate your conversations between faculty and students and help you to get to these research opportunities, right? How many of you have heard about SURF program at Purdue? Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship. It's a prestigious program. We have been running this program for many, many years. It's our flagship program, and I get to run that program. When I say I, my team and I get to run that program. So we're very proud of that program. This summer was our first online program due to COVID. It was very successful. We had 86 students. Typically, we had about 150 students, 150 to 160. But more than half of them was able to engage in research online due to COVID. So that trend, I am suspecting, is going to continue, and our faculties are figuring out ways to offer research, maintaining social distance and all those guidelines that are in place. So be encouraged. It's still a very possible thing that you can do, right? So in addition to SURF program, we also offer year-round research programs. So for example, you may have received an email from me saying that we have first-time research opportunities. We recently received a grant that is going to help you get started in first-time research as a first-time researcher. So, so keep an eye out for that. We are going to actually do a quick activity of how to get involved, how to find those opportunities. So stay tuned. We also offer a class. So some of our students might be here, maybe not, but I actually teach how to get involved in research pathways class. This is an introductory class that first year students are able to take. As I mentioned, we work with students one-on-one, figuring out what are your research goals? What are your interests? How can I get involved? And then we can help you, we can work with you to get to your dream research lab, okay? So we offer a lot of services. Our website is a fantastic place to get started, but we also like to talk to students and help you find your research goals. How do you find us? Obviously, Google us, but also we have a nice website that you can also connect with us. If you have any questions, concern, please send us an email to eur@purdue.edu. Again, we also have a very active LinkedIn program, or LinkedIn profile. I'm sorry to say the program, but this is where you can see what our success stories look like. What does students in a SURF program, how did they do? What are their goals now? What are they doing right now? So there are a lot of fun stories for you can see that this is a possibility for you as well. That being said, I mentioned there are lots of first-time research opportunities for those who are brand new to research. So Sarah, if you don't mind posting the link that I shared with you. So all of you, everybody has some sort of a connection to an internet, right? Of course, that's why you're here. I want you to find this link. You should already have an account. So go to engineering, produce simplicity link. You should be able to find opportunities under internships, research internships, and pick any of these job titles or job IDs and see if you can find something. Pick anything. I don't care at this point what you see. Just pick one and see if you can locate those opportunities. So I'm going to be quiet for a little bit and give me a signal when you are able to find an opportunity. Sarah, are you able to monitor the chat?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
We have a person who said, what is the difference between project opportunities and research opportunities? Are some
Okay.
offered as classes and others not? I will say firsthand, you can take research as a class regardless of whether or not it's offered as a class. It depends on your discussion with the professor, but many engineering colleges accept pure research hours as a class. It's how many graduate students get credit for doing their research. So if you're looking for a credit opportunity, I'll discuss it later, but doing research for just plain credit is an option. But Darshini, do you want to speak upon the difference between project opportunities and research opportunities?
Certainly. So project opportunities would be very much similar to what you discussed earlier, VIP, right? Somebody said vertically integrated projects. Now, these are team-based projects. These are research in nature. However, this is a team of individuals come together and then work on a project. So VIP is a classic example of a project-based research. Now, the SURF program, these are individual research that you're going to take up, right? You have a group of mentors, like you are working with a faculty mentor as a primary mentor, but you also have graduate students who are guiding you through the process. But you're working pretty much like an apprentice, right? You have a group of people who are going to guide you, but you're driving your own car, let's say that. So that's a classic difference between an internship, like a research internship, versus a project-based research project.
Can I speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, please do.
So people are mentioning the VIP program. The VIP program, or vertically integrated projects, it's a more formatted, structured class. You can actually like sign up for those opportunities directly. And those have additional requirements like professional development courses and an actual like professor mentor along with the people you work with for research. Doing research for credit with just a professor and not through the VIP program is a lot less structured. You have to take the initiative to actually fill out the paperwork. You have to take the initiative to contact the professors. And it's not as much of a team environment because you are the individual working with the professor rather than it's a group of you guys all working on the same project. Hope that helps. Darshini, we do have a question about if you know how large the teams are for the ISGP research internships and what are the timelines for these?
Excellent question. These projects are going to be individual. As I mentioned, these are apprentice model, but how you also have a group of graduate mentors, faculties who are going to guide you through, but you are working pretty much independently as a researcher. So Sarah, if you don't mind talking about, when you talk about your experience, right? You have a group of graduate students in your lab. You also have your PI, right? Principal investigator, but you are your own individual doing your research work, but there are collaborators.
In my personal experience, a lot of times when you first start out doing research for a lab, they'll put you on less intensive projects, more like entry-level projects, but it's still your project. You still do it on your own. And then as you build up experience, they give you more and more autonomy. So I'll speak on this later, but right now I'm actually running my own series of tests that a supervisor wanted to run, so he let me take care of all the data collection. So it is my own sort of project that I'm working on.
Right.
A lot of times you'll have that where you'll collaborate on an idea for a project, but then you'll actually implement it. So I actually have a paper that I worked on that was like that. Someone asked if they can apply for more than one.
Yes, I welcome all of you to think about more than one project. So deadline to apply is October 9th. In the meantime, if you really look at the job posting, there are people you can contact and ask questions. In fact, the arrangement is for you to do an informational interview so that you can understand a little bit more about these opportunities, right? Yes, there's a basic job description or a project description, but the point of a contact listed there for primarily for you to reach out and ask questions. So there's no pressure. It's like, oh my God, am I bugging these people? Nope, you have to bug and ask for this information. And Sarah can talk to you about that, how much she was persistent in terms of finding information. But you have to do this work, right? This is what you're interested in doing. You have to contact these graduate mentors or the PIs. When I say PI, it's a principal investigator. That is pretty much your faculty mentors, right? So please reach out. I have some basic ideas about what these projects are about, so that's how I can be helpful. But I really encourage all of you to, first of all, make sure that your resume is good to go, right? Your high school resume needs to be revised. We can talk a little bit about that as well. Also write a personalized cover letter. Don't write this generic cover letter that will go to every single opportunity, because these 11 postings are here are uniquely different. Therefore, I highly recommend, if you want to stand out from over 2,000 students who are going to be applying, you need to customize and tell what is your story behind your interest. Next, your question.
Real quick, Sarah has mentioned a few things about how do we reach out about projects with so many classes online and getting help with resume and cover letters. I will touch on that more in my presentation, and then if you still have questions, we can talk about it. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Hakuna Matata, great. Someone asked real quick before we continue, if they get chosen for a research opportunity and are no longer interested, can they back out? And that should be our last question before we are moving on.
Yes. Yes, but that will also burn a little bit of a bridge, right? Because you said, yes, I'm going to come and work for you. And then the professor put all these resources and get you all arranged, set up. And then you decide, oops, I can't work, right? So you had to think about your commitment. I'll tell you, once you're chosen, you will actually start working for these projects in the spring semester. In some cases, if the professor is ready and you are ready and you're able to manage your time effectively, you can actually get started in this semester as well. It really depends on how well you can balance. Time commitment wise, this is really a part-time research opportunity, which means you might work about 10 hours a week or less, right? And really, it's a part-time opportunity. Typically, over the summer, students engage in research for 40 hours. That's a full-time research opportunity. But during the academic year, some of the students work 10 hours, some of the students work up to 20 hours. It really depends on your workload and how well can you balance your time. But I can tell, and again, we have some good examples like Sarah, who are doing really well, managing time, engaging in research, but also doing really well in academics, okay? So we can talk a little bit more about that. And again, I understand you're all doing everything online, virtually, and it's crazy, it's nuts. However, we are here to help you, right? If you need to talk to us about your resume cover letter, come to us, we can help you. That's why we are here to help you, right? As I mentioned, office hours earlier, I'm sorry, I is going. Talk to us. Here are office hours. We're here to help, right? This is pretty much a quick Zoom hop in. We can chat. Myself, my supervisor, who is the director of the office, Professor Howder. There are graduate assistants to help you. We're here to help you. So come talk to us. Sounds good? So we have some stories to share. So can we move on? Good? Okay.
Awesome, let's do it.
Yeah. Yusuf, you can, how did you unmute?
Yes, my bad. I was commuting back to the apartment from work.
All right.
Picked up a order
Okay.
Chipotle, so now I'm back. So actually,
Okay.
I can touch up really quick on what Sarah was saying.
Yeah.
Through my research experience, I got my first research experience here at Purdue through a friend referral. So like, watch out if you guys have any upperclassmen friends who are graduating, they probably have a research position, especially if they're gonna pursue like further higher education, like in terms of grad school, master's, or
Yeah.
PhD. So if you reach out to them, because what my lab likes to do, and it's the basic medical science lab, it's a breast cancer research lab at Lynn, the vet school, just south of Purdue on
Yep.
Harrison Street, if you guys know where that is. Anywho, what they like to do when they recruit a lab assistant every now and then is to spread it out by word of mouth. I think that's
Yep.
the right term.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they don't like going through the regular protocol of the whole Purdue portal thing, putting it
Right,
on there, just
right.
like, okay, who do you know? Send us his email. We'll talk to him. He sends it to me. Like, it's just that fast pace. And they
Yep.
just, like, I don't know if this might sound informal, but they get like friendly and personal with you. Like, it actually becomes like a thing for a week. Like, you go like, okay, yeah, this is my research group. Like, you see them around. Like, think about it like a study group, but you have no classes with them except for like the project you're working on, whatever that
Right.
project is. But it's
Yeah.
fun. It's nice if you're into some lab work and staring at Excel sheets and making some analyses here and there and probably programming every now and then. If it's in agriculture, there's definitely gonna be greenhouse and field work, but
Cool.
personally, I enjoy it.
Fantastic.
Sweet.
Thank you for sharing that, Yusuf.
Absolutely.
And you touched upon a very important aspect here. It's networks, right? Who you know, how you know people. And if I'm going to refer a student to my research lab, I better have a good understanding of who this individual is, right? Because I'm actually causing my reputation nominating Sarah for this position, right? So I want to make sure that the student is trustworthy and has a good work ethic that he or she is going to do really well. Okay, so fantastic. So you probably want to ask this question, okay, well, you're telling me how to get started, right? Yes, but it starts with the question of asking yourself, what am I generally interested in, right? Why do I care? And you might not have this very specific question that you want to answer, but you might have a broad interest, right? I'm generally interested in sustainability. I'm generally interested in transportation. Okay, what is it that I'm questioning about, right? And Sarah, when you were little, what were your questions about?
For me, I heard Dr. Nauman's stories, which some of you might have them or heard of them, about biomedical stuff and like people exploding spines. And I was like, this is really cool. Like, you get to explode spines. This sounds like an awesome, like, cool job. And I loved chemistry and physics. And I also loved watching things explode. So I'm like, hey, what do all these have in common? And it turns out the answer for me was mechanical engineering. So my advice is figure out what you enjoy doing, like what you have a genuine passion about, and find the sweet spot, the Goldilocks spot, where you can explore what you want without being like limited and be able to explore anything you like. So someone posted that they enjoy genetics and cellular work and biology and engineering, so they want to do bioengineering. And that's the sort of thing,
Right.
when you're looking for a research project, don't try to pigeonhole yourself until you know what it is you're passionate about.
Right. At this point in your life, keep your interests broad as possible, It's okay to not know. It's okay to kind of figure out, you know what, I'm going to try this and see if I like it. And that's an okay thing to do. Okay? So if you don't know, start brainstorming with your friends, ask yourself a question. Really, it's a reflective practice that's going to get you to that thinking. It's like, I'm generally interested in this. So I have a fancy map, right? So pathfinding is not a linear thing. I hope you figured that out, right, already. But identifying who you are, what you are interested in generally, to get to that research lab is not a straightforward path. It's kind of crazy. There are so many paths that you can take. So when Sarah came to our office, she's like, Darshini, you know, I have this credit thing that I had to take care of, however, but I'm not really interested in. I really want to get into some research so that I can, you know, figure out my path forward. And with this, I'm going to actually have her speak about her path, because her steps that she took might be something that you might also want to replicate. If that doesn't work, that's also fine. We can also take different paths to get there, right? And again, her path is not the only path. As I mentioned, there are so many other ways that you can get involved, right? You can come to us directly. You can also contact your departments. You can also do your own research, because we have, again, we are a Research One institution. We have research centers. So this block here is a hyperlink. I'll send you this PowerPoint presentation afterwards. You can click this and see, oh my goodness, there are so many research centers. And if I want to go there and simply say, I'm generally interested in biogenetics, right? Let's say genetics or implants. It will tell you all the research centers at Purdue. And there are a list of people that you can reach out to. That's one path, right? I'm going to have Sarah speak, and that's a reasonable path that she took. Sarah, this is all yours.
Okay. So I'm going to sort of say my story and how I got involved with research. About me, I'm a sophomore in mechanical engineering. I do research with energetic materials. That's fancy science speak for explosives. And I worked at Zucrow Labs for 9 months, which means I started research as a freshman. If you could go back, Darshini.
Sorry.
And on the photos here, you can see some of the work I've actually worked with that middle photo is actually a graph from a research project I did. So my story, there's little baby Sarah. As a kid, I loved research, explosions, chemistry. Marie Curie was my hero. I was your standard typical nerdy kid. And I did the Haas program, and I loved propulsion with NASA. And I came to Purdue bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, like, I want to do research with propulsion, yay! And going into transitioning to my major, I had so many AP credits that I didn't have enough science credit at the university, and that led me to getting involved on campus with research. So why research? I needed 1 science class, 2 credits worth of science to get my guaranteed major for T2M, and I was going for one of the crazy hardcore majors before I decided to be an ME. And AP credits didn't count, and I didn't have many options. So my advisor told me, just take oceanography. And it felt like a brick in my stomach because I was going to go to a class I had no interest in. And it wouldn't advance my goals in life or my degree plan. And I spoke with 3 different people and different advisors before someone actually told me I could do undergraduate research for credit. And that was something I had actually loved my entire life. So here's how EURO can help. Regardless of where you're currently standing with research, EURO is the reason I have all these resources, the information, I have my job, and everyone at EURO is really knowledgeable about the process of undergraduate research. So here's how they can help you. They can give you resources and information, which will save you hours of trying to find info from Purdue. They help you expand your network. As Darshini mentioned, a lot of research is just about who you know and who they know. So getting the contact information from the professors that will directly do research will save you a lot of time. EURO also helps you get in touch with professors, advisors, and academic advisors, and anyone in like HUVD who can facilitate the paperwork process to make sure you actually get what you need out of research. And they also act as an advocate for your goals and wishes. In my experience, Darshini was very pushy to make sure that I was getting what I needed out of my research, and I was going to get the credit I needed and also be in a position that I wanted. So acting as an advocate and having an advocate for someone who's going to say, oh wait, no, what about the student, is really helpful. And it also helps you refine your message and story. A big part of getting into research is knowing who you are and being able to sell your brand. And EURO can help you really polish yourself and figure things out. So how to get involved. Step 1 is research the professor interest in current projects. On the right here is a screenshot from the ME webpage, but every single college of engineering, and even outside of engineering, has some sort of web page where it lists the professors and their research interests. This will save you a lot of time because you don't want to go bugging a professor who does like gene therapy when you want to do explosives and be like, hi, you're an ME professor, right? Do you do explosives? And it makes them annoyed at you, you know? That's happened before. Narrow down the professors you wish to work with. Look at multiple majors, because for me, what I like to do teeters between aero, mechanical, and chemical. So a lot of different research projects, you might find random little professors here and there like, oh, this materials engineering professor does what I want. Great. It doesn't matter if they're the same major as you want to be. Just look at what professors you want to work with. Then email them with the following. I always like to email with name, major, year, and resume. Be upfront about the fact that you are a first-year engineer and a freshman, because it is better that you're honest about it and get rejected than they take time out of their schedule, interview you, ask you if you're a freshman, and then kick you out of their office. So it's much better to put it out there and to just get it on the table. The next thing is why their research interests you. Mention stuff about their research interests. This screenshot is from the actual email I used to get my current research position. And I said, hey, I noticed from your website, you like energetic materials on a small scale. That's really cool. So I also would say what skills you have that will be useful to them. For me, I put at the end, I'm a determined individual, I'll work very hard, how to be useful, and I'll read anything you need me to before the interview or whatever. And then express interest in setting up a meeting to hear more about their research and involvement with it. I know it's COVID. I know it's scary. I know they might not respond to you, but you have to try. Here's how you get an interview. Step 1 is be persistent. Do not be afraid to talk to professors over their office hours. Many professors have public office hours that you can pop into. Even during COVID, they'll still have office hours that you can pop into and say, hi, do you have time to talk about your research? And I spoke with about 3 professors face-to-face before the national pandemic in the ME building, just going around to the different offices where I knew the professors did the research. So you have to have a little bit of like Purdue grit here, you know? Send a follow-up email after a few weeks if they don't respond, you know? Don't be annoying about it, but just check in with them like, hey, how's it going? And try to email a lot of professors. I talked with about 8 professors in total. Out of those, I emailed about 5 of those professors before getting 1 response back. It's a numbers game because not all professors like working with freshmen. It's a harsh truth. Not all professors will have graduate students who want to deal with you. It's sad, but it's true. But they exist. And when you find the one that's enthusiastic and wants to work with you and you strike the jackpot, you gotta go for it. The next step is be professional. Use professional language when communicating with professors. If you put like a yeah or a bruh or a dude in your email, good luck. Communicate them during typical office hours. What I mean by this is 9 a.m., 5 p.m., that's when you email them Monday through Friday. Do not email them midnight on a Tuesday or like 4 a.m. on a Saturday, because they're not going to respond to it. You'll have a much better chance if you email during their typical office hours, because they're already checking their email and they'll at least read it. And the next thing is be on time for any interview. Early, 15 minutes, be waiting at their door. You do not want to be the person who's running into the interview late and they've been waiting for you. And also have an updated resume and professional looking LinkedIn. It's just good stuff. Here's my last little bit of friendly advice. VMOC, great tool to polish your resume. They don't usually tell you about this until your sophomore year, and it's dumb. Use it now. Make your resume look awesome. The CCO office, you had questions about cover letters? Look at the CCO. They have guides for that. You still don't think your cover letter is good? Go to the CCO. They'll look at it. They'll read it. They'll feedback it. They'll look at your resume. You can practice your elevator pitch. The CCO will even give you a free pair of clothes every semester for your interview outfit, or at least they did before COVID. Don't know about that. But the CCO is a great tool to make yourself look polished. Express genuine interest and get the professor to talk about their research. The difference between a 5-minute meeting where they kick you out after hearing you're interested in the research and a 40-minute meeting is the 30 minutes where the professor discusses his research or her research. It's that simple. Professors like to talk about their research, so get them talking about it, because that starts to build that connection. That starts to build the genuine interest. That keeps it from being an IR 5-minute shred your resume kind of thing. Be genuine and honest about your passions. If you go into this process and you're just trying to get a resume booster, you're not going to get through it. It's a lot of work. And, you could get a better paying job at, McDonald's being a manager. The difference is I genuinely love what I do for work. I don't know about McDonald's, but in order to get through this process, you need to really go for it and go for what you want to do in your life. Follow your passions and go to the EURO office for help. Any questions? Post them in the chat. We're gonna keep going. Woohoo!
Thank you, Sarah. So Sarah is an ambassador for this very reason. She's one of our success stories. And again, this is, I like to bring her when I speak, primarily because this is a real life story, right? This is real. This is her experiences, and this is something that you can achieve as well. Be persistent. We're here to help. Use the resources. And again, think about, is research for you, right? There are lots of benefits of being engaged in research. If you have a passion for continuing your education for masters and PhDs, or even if you want to test the industry at some point, right, as an intern or a co-op, this will help you, right? You have some experience. So I encourage you very much, like going through an interview for a co-op or an internship or any other project. The tips that we are giving you today are going to be helpful regardless of the field that you're going into. So it's universally applicable. Therefore, take this advice, and we are here to help. So I have some other information I'd like to share with you, especially 2020 year is the year that we actually changed a lot of things. I came on board. I took the role as an assistant director for SERF program in Engineering Undergraduate Research Office. We changed a lot of things. So one thing I'm very proud of is giving access to first year students. So 2020 was the first year we gave access to first year students. Up until then, we didn't even look at first year students for research opportunities, but things are changing quite fast, quite rapidly. So SERF is open to first year students, okay? And the minimum GPA and all that I'm gonna be sharing with you soon. However, look at the benefit package. We start the application process in December, and we finish application closing February 15th, but you got some time to think about, okay, how do I put myself together, right? How do I organize myself together? But the compensation package, right? You get $5,100 as a stipend for 40 hours a week for 10 weeks. and you're really, really involved in research. You get to full-time commit to an area of your interest. It is somewhat competitive, but I can tell you, as a Purdue student, you have an advantage of being able to network with these professors and get to know them now. So start early, take these opportunities to get involved in first-time research opportunities and build your network, okay? Any questions about this stuff? I'm gonna go into real details, but I wanna share some of these real stories, and I have a video that I would like to share with you about why did they get involved in research and what is their story. So real quickly, I'm switching my screen so you can see a story from a chemical engineering student who's doing research. All right. So hold on a second, I'm just switching here. Okay, I'm having a little bit of a technical challenge here. Okay, this is interesting. Okay, share screen.
Darshini, it's kind of hard to hear the video.
Really?
Yes, quite.
Okay, so I have max. Okay, well, I have this.
Do you want to speak real quick though on how you apply to SURF? Do you want to pull up like your web page and show you where those students can apply?
Let's do that. I apologize for that. I tested already and okay. Here we are. That'll be great. Okay, I'm back on the PowerPoint slide deck. Are you all able to see? Yeah, cool. All right. So this summer, we had 86 students take part in the SURF program, and we had 19 different research themes. And here are some examples of, you can see that, okay, we came from genetics to learning and evaluation. So there are so many different areas of research that was conducted this summer. So what we're going to do real quickly right now is to understand what does this first-time researchers' work look like. So Sarah, if you don't mind real quickly sharing the link for the SURF abstract, and we're going to quickly break into breakout rooms, and you will be put in 2 to 3 groups, and you're going to look for a abstract of a first-time researcher and kind of think about, oh my goodness, they're able to get all of this done in 40 hours a week, in 10 weeks. So again, this is really for you to think about what is possible, what is out there, right? So what we're going to do real quickly right now is to break out and look for an abstract and read that abstract, right? So abstract is considered as a summary of what this project is about. It talks about the motivation for the project, what are the outcomes, and what are the results, okay? So are we ready to break out into rooms? Okay, so please join, and we'll take about 5 minutes for this, okay? So Kevin and John, are you able to join a breakout room? CJ?
Yes.
Hi, how much time did you give for the breakout room?
It actually depends on you. So I can close the room whenever you think it's time.
Okay.
All I need to do is
Give me some time. And then we have a fancy symposium that you get to present your work. It's really my favorite time of the year that I get to see all these wonderful researchers get to talk about their work. It's daunting for them, but it's really fun for me to see how much they have accomplished. So that's a fun thing that I get to do. What else? It's really time for us to ask some questions.
Okay, looking at the chat here, where can we find these slides? Actually, that's a great point. That reminds me of the last link I need to send to you guys. 1 minute. We are going to give these slides to your engineering professors so they can give to you. But if you want to get more information, you can give your email to this Google Doc, and it's a Google form, and it's amazing. As for, are there any experience needed to apply for research positions? No. I was an idiot freshman. I built tables for my first month because I had literally no experience. I had -2 experience. I had never even had a part-time job. So you can do research even if you're a person like me, where I didn't even know what a camera lens looked like, and I was working with someone who does professional laser ray tracing with a bunch of lenses. It's your dedication, your willingness to work, a little bit of luck, and some grit that'll get you through. How do you change your GPA for the research portal is the next question.
How do you change your GPA for the research portal, meaning the simplicity? Is that the question?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I don't think you can do it on yourself, but send me an email. I should be able to help you out in that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Any other questions?
I'm already answering this partially, but any advice for research roundtable next Tuesday?
Come prepared and ask lots of questions. Prepared meaning like think about what are your broad research interest areas. Know what you want to say, right? They might ask you a question like, what are you interested? Well, if you say, I don't know, that might be a little bit of a problem. At least broad answers, right? Broad interest areas would be super helpful. Bring your resume. That's all you need. And your dedication, right? Commitment. Show that you're interested. And to be able to speak about why you care about research. Why do you want to do that? That should really be helpful. And it is really for you to gather information, so no pressure. It's really low key. Other questions?
There are many. When are the next EURO office hours?
Yep, I will show you the slide that I put all the office hours for you. And I will make sure that
that'll probably be a good one to keep on while we're answering questions.
yeah.
Will we be sent information about which professors will be at Research Roundtable?
You have to register for research roundtables, and that will give you access to all the participants. So please register. And I'll make sure to include a link on that as well. If not, you can simply Google it. OUR has all the information. But let me ask this question while we are trying to answer all the other questions. Was this helpful? Was this information helpful? Is this relevant? Will you remember us to come ask for help?
Okay. A lot of people registered for Research Roundtable, but haven't received any information.
All right. I can nudge the office. This is handled by the central office in the college, university level. It's called the Undergraduate Research Office. This is not organized by the engineering office, but I can nudge them to make sure that we get them. So thank you for reminding. I work very closely with them, but I'll nudge them. Other questions? So I asked,
is there an attendance QR?
CG, this is your time to shine.
Yes, that is not an us thing. For example, engineering undergraduate research office, by the way, to clarify some stuff, it's helping engineers get into research positions. So stuff like Research Roundtable, that's general Purdue stuff. Stuff like attendance codes, not us.
That's EYM, right. Okay, so real quickly, show by hand, or you can say, yes, this was good. You can use reactions. Okay, now I'm able to say, okay. That's right, email us, eur@purdue.edu. Research roundtable going to be one-on-one type of a thing. It's held virtually using a software called Concord. It will be very similar to where you can have one-on-one conversations, but also most of the items or materials will be posted in the platform for you to access. If that helps you, again, I don't control that event. I wish I did, but I don't. Other questions? All right, CG, you have some questions here. QR code is not scanning.
If the QR code is not working for you, you can put your name and your email address in the chat, so we can have a record that you already attend this event.
Okay. I'm assuming because it is 3 minutes past 8 o'clock that most of you guys are going to be leaving, but thank you so much for attending. We'll still be here to answer questions for the next few minutes if you guys have any. And do research as a freshman. Fight the mold, fight the stigma, and be the change where you say, I love research and I'm a freshman, and that's okay.
All right, I'm gonna put, thank you very much for joining tonight, and good luck with the midterms.
For those of you left, you guys will get through FYE. It'll be okay. I did, you guys will, and it'll be good.
Thank you, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah, can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Yes, of course.
So, like, when you were a freshman looking for a research position, like, how did you start it? I mean, yes, I know that you sent an email, but like, did you just decide to do that on yourself, or did you also hear about it from this program? Or
Quite the opposite. When I was a freshman, this program was still kind of, this program's new. So when I was a freshman, I was told freshmen don't do research. I was told take oceanography for your research credit. And I was not having any of it. I actually found out from one of Darshini's old coworkers who oversaw my scholarship, who was just making nice conversation and asked me what I wanted to do. And I said, research. And she said, don't you know you can do research on campus? And I'm like, but I'm a freshman. And she just put her hand on her head like, are you kidding me? Who told you you couldn't do research as a freshman? And I was like, my academic advisor didn't mention anything about it. So after much work and many meetings with Darshini, and many times she was just like, Sarah, your resume is complete garbage. Fix it. After all of that, I internally decided that I didn't want to take oceanography. That class was going to be boring. And because I found out from this one person, I could take research potentially for credit if I did a lot of work. I was just determined to do it because the world had told me not to do something and I was not having it. To actually get started into looking at professors, I just went to the MU website and I just clicked on little professors and I just made a Google Doc of every single professor I thought sounded interesting. And Dr. Sun, who happens to be an awesome person who I'm still working with today, and one of the chillest like academic people I've met, just happened to be on that list. And it just happened that one of the grad students who loves freshmen broke his leg in the middle of building a bunch of stuff for the lab setup. So they needed more people. And those kinds of miraculous opportunities only come when you really like put yourself out there, push yourself, and just bug as many professors as possible. And worst case scenario, I talked with a professor who was really awesome and really interested in working with me. And he just said, come back as a sophomore. So worst case scenario, you're starting to build that connection. It's kind of like IR, where sometimes you'll get your resume shredded the first year, but if you come back, they're like, hey, wait a minute, you were here last year. Hi again. Now we can actually have a discussion about you being involved. And sometimes with research, it'll be like that. And sometimes you'll get lucky and they just happen to need more hands at the lab.